So today we're going to teach you how to install a herringbone tile on a shower floor. Before I went and start, I've already mapped this out. I've taken it to the middle, I've gone both directions to check to make sure that this is going to work. Everything's going to be awesome. The only thing is when we get to the outside of our 6x6 foot pan, we want to continue the slope to the outside of the room. Now the house is moving a little bit of a slope that way. So as we go, we're going to change our trowel. We're going to start off nice and small and go to quarter, go to 3/8, and then go to 1/2 inch, just to make sure that we can use our level and keep our stones slowly sloping out the side of the room. Just a quick shout out to my company Mapai. Love this product, Herringbone. This is a non-modified cement. There's no latex in it. It's necessary and it's designed for use with the Schluter system. Basically, it's old-fashioned cement, and it works because it adheres to the plastic end of the tile. The regular wall tile cement that you're going to find out there, it's not going to bond, so make sure you use the right stuff. And I like this one because it's nice and silky smooth. There are other products in the market that are a lot more granular. I guess everybody likes something a little different, but for me, it's Herringbone all the way. Now, we can actually install this on our shower floor, and because there's so much movement and so many grout lines, it'll actually contour and drain the water right to the hole without doing all kinds of crazy cuts. This is kind of cool because it's got a texture on it, and it also is taken with a lot of different pictures, so they all look like an individual piece of wood. So what's going on here is, this is not like a traditional tile where you have 3 different designs and it's reoccurring. Those tiles, you have to check the back for an arrow. You always have one from facing the same direction, it looks stupid. This stuff here, they all look like individual pieces of wood. So, I mean, I just pulled out, 80 real quick, and none of these look the same. So that's nice. So we don't have to worry about a pattern emerging on the floor. We're just gonna take them out of the box as they come. And we're gonna use this one for now. So all we gotta do is we're gonna put this cement all over the floor. We wanna do it as even as possible. Now, because the floor has contour, I'm gonna take the time to back butter each of these tiles, which may seem monotonous, but I wanna make sure it's gonna be perfect. Here we go. So here's the advice. If you're doing a pattern like this, you have to keep your angles tile to tile true. You can't follow your outside walls. In all of my years in construction, I've never seen a square room. And if you follow the walls, you're bound to have all kinds of issues. Now, you can cheat a little bit because the pattern will come along and then we'll get a full tile here. So you can be adjusting your grout lines to fill the space a little better. The secret is start flush and then move the tile in both ways. Create your space. Don't press it into the floor. There's a time and a place for that, and it ain't yet. That's why we're back buttering, so we don't have to add pressure. We don't want to fill all the grout lines full of cement. Now the herringbone design itself is not new. We've seen it on decking, but traditionally you'll find this in Europe, hardwood floors. All over Europe. I mean, you go 150, 200 years ago, the wood was all installed like this. And this is where the look came from. So when they started making porcelain tile that looked like wood, it seemed like a pretty natural progression to offer this in that sort of style. Now, I'm working with a good quality porcelain. And a stone that's this small makes your life pretty easy when it comes to cutting with the stone. I have a wet saw. It's a fabulous tool. I rely on it for a lot of projects. But in this situation, I'm using this little scratch tool. Nothing fancy. Because you can just go and buy one of these and do this project yourself. So I mentioned earlier about not pressing the stone in because we're on a contour. We want to let the stone follow the contour. You don't want to manipulate it or you'll end up with a floor that's all wobbly. Just take your grout float, add a little bit of pressure, heading towards the drain. That'll help to guarantee that everything is setting in the cement in the right direction. No pounding necessary. So over here I've got a couple of spacers up against the wall holding the tile. And because I don't want to wait until tomorrow to pull them out to do the floor, I'm just going to cut through nice and simple. And then leave the piece underneath the tile to support the weight. Interesting when you're doing this kind of tile is it can get away from you in a quick hurry. I'm heading in multiple different directions at the same time. And stop and pay attention every few tiles and make sure you're doing the pattern right. You could change the design and not even know it. This is all about just being patient, taking your time. Because this is porcelain and not ceramic, we don't have the challenge that you'll find with ceramic baked tile where they're all different sizes. This stuff here is actually, it's dead on. Every tile is exactly the same. So I can come at this from all different angles. I can go backwards, I can fill in this way and go this way, I can change direction and come over this way. And as long as I'm keeping things relatively square, I'll never have an issue. One of the things, okay, I'm ripping out the bathroom floor in my house. I've got this little Brutus tile cutter, must be 8-10 years ago. I don't use it very often, but when I get a small tile like this in a small space, it's really handy. The quality of the tile cutter, you know, there's a lot of discussion about that. There are products out there that are hundreds and thousands of dollars, but the reality is it's all in the wheel. If you've got a brand new wheel, runs you about $4 or $5. As long as this thing is square and true, you just push, create that scratch line. Now the stone has a weak spot. Put the pedal there, thumbs on the, grab the bar. 2 pieces. You don't need to spend $1,000 for a good cut. So just a quick note for people who are trying to be conscious about, you know, the materials and not having waste and throwing things in the garbage. Most patterns and designs that exist today cause waste. The bigger the stone you put on, the more waste, because you're always cutting things that aren't used again. In this floor here, this is kind of neat because I cut a tile for this piece and the offcut is automatically the right size for that piece. So in all of the cuts that we've done so far, I haven't had to throw a single piece in the garbage. And that should remain true for the rest of the floor. Almost hard to see the factory edge. Amazing how good a cheap little cutter can do. Just a quick double check, but everything is rolling towards the drain, just like it's supposed to. So for all of you perfectionists out there, and I'm gonna get a comment, hey, that wasn't level. It's not supposed to be. We are trying to keep the outside of the room higher than the drain so all the water goes in one spot. So what we're just demonstrating here is even though we're just putting it all in nice and simple and following the contour of the floor, you know, it's still nice and smooth. There's not a lot of trip surface here. If you go here, it's still a bit of a down curve, but when I get to the outside of the pan, it'll start sloping back. Yeah, right now, that's level. That's the middle. When we get to the outside, it'll start sloping up again. But here, everything's sloping towards the drain as well. Well, just a quick example here, the Schluter drain system comes in 3 different pieces. This is just the collar that goes in the drain. This sits inside that collar. And this is your adjustment plate. Now all of this gets set in cement. And it really holds on well. Okay, so what we have to do And then just real quick for everybody at home, this is a waterproof membrane. The drain itself is rather large, it comes way out here. And so I cement the waterproof membrane over the drain into this membrane. So any of the water that follows the tile, goes down this drain, that's great. But any water, because of gravity and gets underneath the tile for whatever reason, years from now, it'll follow this orange mat, leak out into here, and hit this stuff here. This white mesh is actually a secondary drain. So the water will be able to go through and into this drain as well, and goes under the tile. So we gotta get some cement in here, put in our ring, and it's adjustable. You can see, so you can kind of slide this around a little bit and find the happy place with your tile. These little bumps, the bumps you leave at the top because that's what the plate catches. So we get our ring, in there. We're gonna stick this on. Now this is compression fit. So now that we have that on, we're gonna just fill this up like every other part of the tile surface that we're doing. Slide this in. Let's put the system is facing the door. Because it's just plastic and plastic. And then once we get the tile cut around it, we'll be able to set this in to like a 32nd range lower than the tile, so the draining is gonna be really easy. So these drains are adjustable from 1 inch to almost 0. So no matter what kind of floor system you're putting in, it'll be compatible. So we're gonna just trace where I want to cut. And that's the key. Right now I'm marking what I want to cut. So I end up with a little grout line. So I'm just gonna leave this one here and set my gap. And now I can mark my next one. And then I take my 2 pieces and I just confirm. See, that cuts in a different spot than that one, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna just set that up again for my grout line. Confirm this one more time. I like. Okay, let's go cut some stone. So we're not going to do anything different here. Just going to set our stone. Gentle tap, just a hair lower than the stone. So all you need to do to finish this floor, keep on doing what we just showed you. That covers all the basic tricks. Remember, if you want to learn more, just subscribe to our channel, Ottawa Design and Build here on YouTube.